Taoiseach, it's now 5 months since our workplace ventilation COVID-19 bill passed second stage unanimously. The government didn't oppose the bill. The Minister of State of the Department of Finance, Social Protection, I think, Damien English, said in the debate that the government supports the objectives of the bill. I assure the Deputy that my officials and I will work with him to determine the best approach to achieve these objectives. In the course of the debate, he said that officials from the Health and Safety Authority and his department would like the opportunity to meet with me before committee stage, and said he would call me that afternoon. Still waiting for the phone call, still waiting. Damien English, still waiting for the meeting. Regardless of the bill, because we don't need to pass that bill to do it. The government could do it by regulations. We'd be happy for the government to do it by regulations in terms of establishing clean air quality standards. But even short of regulations, in terms of information, why is the government not promoting ventilation and filtration to businesses, to schools, to colleges, and so on? Like, COVID is still with us. It's still killing people. We need to do everything that we can to be as safe as possible, to have as little disruption to our society as possible. The most obvious, most scientifically clear thing to do in that is masks on the one hand, and on the other hand is ventilation and filtration. Why is there no government messaging around those key issues? Thanks.
In terms of Deputy Murphy's point, we have in the COVID Oversight Group appointed John Wenger to that group with a view to giving a higher profile to ventilation in respect of the ongoing challenge of COVID-19. I accept COVID-19 hasn't gone away, and I think we do need to take this opportunity now to see what is the optimal way, both in the business sector and employment, but also in schools and in state public facilities, in terms of the value of ventilation in terms of combating COVID-19 and perhaps other infectious diseases as well. I will talk to Minister Damien English in terms of the legislation that you have produced. But the idea of the COVID Oversight Group that we've established was to give a more multidisciplinary approach to the next phase of COVID-19. Particularly, I think one of our challenges could be next autumn and winter period, because I think the coronaviruses tend to become worse during the winter period because we're more indoor here and so forth. So I'm very anxious that the new oversight group would look at that and come back to government with recommendations in respect of that, because I think that is one additional element we can perhaps do better on in respect of the next phase, although the expertise will be particularly important, because some people, for example, if you recall, the HEPA filters were identified as the holy grail, if you like, in terms of what could be done in schools. But then others will say too that they're not necessarily as effective as we might have thought. So I do think we need a bit more expertise in relation to the ventilation issue in public facilities and in relation to schools also. So I talked to Minister Damien English in that regard. I'm not sure. I think within existing health and safety regulations, there should be provisions for regulations. But again, I'd say in terms of your legislation. In